That skill presents solving equations. Let's say I think of a number and put it in this box. I'm not going to tell you what my number is. I want you to find that out. All I'm going to tell you is, I times my number with 2 and then I take away 1 from the result, and in the end, I'm left with 21. Can you tell me what is my number? So this box has a number that is not known to you. Not known. In other words, it's unknown. And if you want to represent this in math language, you want to use a letter from the English alphabet in place of this box, so that each time you have to work with my number, the number that you do not know, you don't have to keep drawing a box. Let's say you use the alphabet X. So you have an equation in X that's 2 times X. The multiplication sign is often omitted when you have a constant number like 2 multiplied with an unknown that is called X. It could have been called Y or Z, or for that matter anything. So we have 2x or 2 times x minus 1 is equal to 21. And we need to find x. Such a math statement is called an equation. And this number, the one that you need to find out, is known as the unknown because you don't know the value of it. You need to find that out. It's like a puzzle. And to find out what x is, your first job is to find out what 2x is. Imagine this. You have a number and you take away 1 and the answer is 21. What's the number? Well, probably you guessed it right. The number has to be 22 because 22 minus 1 is 21. So there you go, you have the value of 2x as 22. Now what's 2x? It's 2 times x, 2 times the number I've thought about. Now if 2 times a certain number is 22, what is the number? That number is 11 because 11 times 2 is 22. So the number that I thought of is 11. 2 times 11 is 22, 22 minus 1 is 21. But is there a formal way to do this? And luckily the answer is yes. Look, we need to understand what do we need in the end. We need x is equal to something. We don't need 2x. We only need x. We only need this part. But then finding 2x is the first step. If you want to get to x, you want to get to 2x first. And if you look at this side, the left hand side of the equal sign, also called the left hand side of the equation, the number that is tied up with this 2x is this minus 1. So we need to find a way to get rid of this minus 1. And how can we do that? Getting rid means have a 0 there. If it's a plus or a minus, have a 0. If it's a multiplication or a division, have a 1. I'll talk about multiplication a little later. But then to get a 0 here, we need to add 1. So that minus 1 plus 1 is 0. But if you're adding 1 to one side of an equation, you got to do the same on the other side. Otherwise, the equal sign will not hold. And therefore, in the next step, we could say 2x minus 1 plus 1. These two combine to give you a 0. So effectively, we have a 2x plus 0, which is equal to 2x. Is equal to 21 plus 1, which is 22. So we are getting there. Now we have 2x. And then what's 2x? It's 2 times x. Now we do not need 2x. We need x. 2 multiplied with x. We don't want a 2 multiplied with x. We only want a 1 multiplied with x so that we have x. So what do we do now? This time, we divide both sides of the equation with 2. So that this 2 and this 2 cross off. 22 over 2 or 22 divided by 2 is 11. So we have 1x or x is equal to 11. And an equation in which the highest power of the unknown is 1. x is x raised to the first power, right? It isn't more than that. Such an equation is called a linear equation. So this is not only an equation, specifically it's a linear equation. So essentially at each step of solving a linear equation, you keep doing the opposite of what you see of the numbers around the unknown. When it's a minus something, you add that same number. If it were a plus something, you would have subtracted that same number. When it's multiplied with something, you divide with the same number. And if it were x divided with something is equal to something, you would multiply with that same number so that the two factors from the numerator and the denominator would cross off. Let's try another one. Let's say 4x plus 5 plus 4x plus 2 is equal to 5x plus 3. We have several terms containing x on the left hand side. Therefore, our first job is to bring them together. So we are going to rewrite this as 4x plus another 4x plus 5 plus 2. The terms containing the unknown together and the constant terms together. And that is equal to a 5x plus 3. 4x plus 4x, these two combine to give you 8x. So we have 8x plus 5 plus 2 is 7 is equal to 5x plus 3. Now there's a bit of a challenge here in the sense that we see an x on this side of the equation as well as on the other side. The idea is to get all the x's on one side and all the constant numbers on the other side. And therefore, to be able to get that, we need to subtract 5x from this side so that 5x minus 5x is 0. We no longer have the unknown on the right side of the equation. But if we do that, we need to subtract the 5x from the other side of the equation as well. Do the same things on both sides. And similarly, to get rid of this plus 7, we do a minus 7 on both sides. And therefore, we end up having 8x minus 5x is 3x. Plus 7 minus 7, of course, is 0. And that was the whole idea. And that is equal to 5x minus 5x is 0. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. Simplify. 3x plus 0 is 3x is equal to 0 minus 4 is negative 4. At this point, we know what 3x is, but we don't need 3x, we just need x or 1x. And so, we are going to divide both sides of this equation with 3. The 3 and the 3 cross off, meaning we have a 1 here, 1x is the same as x, is equal to negative 4/3.